Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It is your Capes Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our brand new friend, Buster Cagle. We're here to break down his awesome indie comic, The Last Aviatrix, and so much more. And I remember when we first initially started talking, he gave me a breakdown that this was like Mad Max meets like battling a wizard on an airplane, and I was like, what? And then I read it, and it made such perfect sense, man. I love it. Buster, welcome. Give us a little bit of a breakdown of who you are.
Hey, I don't know. I'm Buster Cagle. I am a animator and a comic book artist here in Los Angeles. I don't know. I make The Last Aviatrix. It's not a lot more to it than that.
So what's a little bit of your history? Have you created anything before this? Have you done like any like major like art projects? Like, you know, give us the I can't word today. Give us the juice. Give us the deets.
All right, let's a little bit of my creative history. You want to know the funniest part? The comic books are like actually rather new. I really started like getting into comic books, like trying to draw comic books, week number 3 of our 2-week COVID lockdown. That was like, oh no, this is gonna be a while. I need a project. I need a project where I don't need to work with anybody else. So like, let's make a comic book. I've been taking like art classes and things, so I just kind of gave it a shot. Before that, I made a rock opera, and that's I made like a 2-album rock opera, and that was pretty cool. But you know, if you're doing music and then suddenly you can't be in a room with 2 other people, you kind of need to do something else. So just started making comic books.
That's so cool though, a rock opera. That is like, so what was your musical like? What were you playing? What were you doing?
I was playing guitar.
That's so awesome.
It's like the most ridiculous thing now. It was like a rock opera about 80s punk and then like Chicago blues.
I like it though. That is so cool. How long have you been playing guitar for?
Like 10 years now, I
That's
guess.
awesome, dude. Yeah, dude. I play a little bit of acoustic myself. I wanted to play electric, but I couldn't get my fingers to move fast enough. And it was like the dexterity, like it always made me so mad because I would learn the notes, I could get it, but I never could get it fast enough.
Oh man.
So a rock opera. So how did you end up making comics? I mean, I'm not gonna dive in. It seems like there was maybe a little bit of something that happened where you didn't want to be with the other 2, but you know.
Oh no, that was fine. Like it was genuinely like, oh, there's a coronavirus. I shouldn't be with other people. I
thought there was like some rock opera beef going on. I'm like, dude, this story is escalating. This is escalating.
No, those dudes are cool. It's just like, it's really hard to be a musician right now.
Yeah. So you created these 4 issues, and wow, as writer and creator or artist, that is like just insane. How many pages per issue are these?
They float around 50. The shortest one is 42, and the last one I did is 64. So
wow,
you know, they're like chunky boys.
Yeah. So I mean, like, how did you break into creating indie comics? I know you had that little break where you stopped doing the rock opera, but what drove you into creating, you know, your book, you know, getting into this? I mean, and what did you do along the way to kind of get into like paneling and learning how to design these books?
I mean, so like there was a point a while ago where I was like watching a lot of like children's cartoons. I'm just like, how do you do this? How does somebody even approach like doing this? And I watched an interview with Rebecca Sugar, the person who made Steven Universe, and they just were like adamantly like, if you want to make cartoons, the best thing you can make is comic books, because comic books are the ultimate like, here's a cartoon, but I can make this perfectly and have no budget. All I need is is like a good pen and a piece of paper, and you can make an excellent comic book. If you want to make a cartoon, you need millions of dollars. If you want to make a rock opera, you need a lot of equipment. But if you want to make a comic book, the genuine beauty of a comic book is if you have a good piece of paper and a nice pen. What is that, like $5? You can.
But I mean, I feel like you're kind of underselling yourself too, because like everyone can have that, but not everyone can have the experience or the ability to draw. You know, the ability to conceive this imagery in their head and produce it on paper. I mean, you've done like such an outstanding job, and the fact that you created 4 issues over like the last like 2 years, and were able to construct them in a way like I would have never guessed that. You know, I would have took this as like a project that's been like that you've been doing for years.
No, this was. I think I thought of the story a little bit before I like really went to draw it, but like maybe a year before.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you just jump in. I hate this because it's really like bad advice, but it's also the only advice, which is the trick to any of these things is to just start.
Yeah.
And just the real trick to it is all right, can I tell you a story that's a little bit mean?
Yeah, I mean, this is your time to shine. Take it however you want, man.
I went to LA Zine Fest, which is like, you know, a big kind of zine and comic thing in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little bit of an art snob, and I'm walking around and I'm like, oh man, you can just do anything. Like, you don't have to be a very good artist to be here and have a table and have a thing. I should stop worrying so much about that and just like do something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, you just jump in. If you don't like your art, you can always go back and redraw all the faces and then print the issue 1 again.
Yeah. That seems like such a huge task too. I mean, how's that been for you? Has that been something where you just been knocking out in chunks or just trying to get it done?
Oh, the redraw?
Yeah.
I'll be frank. I looked at that and I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be a giant mess. I'm like, I'm almost done. It's been like 4 days. It's just like you make that first issue and you're like, this is really hard. Now I've got like 200 pages, probably like 250 if you count all the fiddling with like just drawing these characters over and over again. You could just do it. Also, it's not rethinking any paneling or rethinking what they're doing. It's just like, oh, why are their eyes so high all the time?
But I mean, that still has to be like tedious to a point, you know, having to go through and redo everything. But I would almost imagine that like that inner art snob is like pleased. You're just like, finally.
It's an inner art snob who's much meaner than that. He looks and he goes, acceptable.
So what inspired this? I mean, this is such a grandiose tale. I love the character. You know, we find out the character's name later on, but in most of issue 1, her name's not revealed. And then the way she comes across, like getting her, what I would almost assume is her sidekick at that point, was a really interesting way too. So, I mean, just your ability to storytell as well came off like rather experienced. I mean, the way your dialogue was good, your exposition building was awesome, the world building. I mean, it's phenomenal that you did 4 of these issues in 2 years without like really a whole lot of experience.
I mean,
It's like, where do I begin?
You're asking me, it's like, wait, so why is this so good? And I'm like,
well, no. So I was asking about, you know, your influences and stuff. Oh, okay. I was stroking the ego a little bit with the tail.
This really came about from who is it? Alan Moore or somebody was like, I don't think it was Alan Moore. If someone else was like, one of the best inspirations is not great things, but things that aren't very good that you like, that are like almost good.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very much me taking a couple things that I really liked that were almost good and trying to put my spin on them and like how would I make this thing in a way that like I would like. So there's a book series. I think they made it into a movie that was even worse than the books, but the books are called Mortal Engines and it's really close to being good, and they're just not very good, but they're really close.
So what would you say like made it miss the mark?
I mean, I feel like the answer to how would I have made this thing better is the comic book I made. It's like you need to lean into your characters and your world in a way that makes a little bit more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Seems a little bit more fantastical. That whole thing is like, oh boy. I explain why Mortal Engines isn't very good. I don't know. It just this is a real question I have to think about now.
Hey, we could always pivot. That's not a problem. Not a problem.
I also want to just like dump on a thing somebody probably loves.
Yeah. Sometimes for me, I like to ask questions, like probing questions like that, because like sometimes that response can like bring out another, good, nice little gem. But I love this world. Just give us a little bit of a breakdown of what happened. Maybe what caused this post-apocalyptic environment. I mean, we have wizards, we have airplanes powered by atomic bombs. Like, what is going on?
So this is all right. So beyond like inspiration of take a thing you like but is bad and make it what you would think would be a good version. Mm-hmm. This comic book is based 100% around write a story comprised only of things that you want to draw. So I was trying to make a detective story forever. So I was like, all right, there's nothing fantastical about this. It's just low to the ground, black and white. Oh man, I really wish I could put like a wizard in this or something. And so I started writing this like post-nuclear adventure comic, and I was like, who could the bad guy be? This is already fantastic enough. Can I make it a wizard? Can I be like let's have a nuclear powered wizard in there?
So is the wizards atom-born as well?
The wizard, yeah, they're both atom-born.
So what is the premise of being atom-born? Like, what is that, and what's that mean for that individual?
Well, they're kind of these weird, like, semi-immortal, super-powered beings that are just like the couple that are around are kind of bastards. They're always messing with people. They're like attacking cities and people and things. And so like these cities, they talk about how they have all these defenses for when they show up, and it like deters them enough. They don't really mess with the cities. But you see, as soon as she leaves, as soon as like our Last Aviatrix like gets a little bit away from the city, the wizard,
this dude's like,
oh, it's time.
So are there 3 of them?
There are 4 of them.
Okay, because I remember, I think it was issue 3. Because what I did was I saved some of the covers as like an image slideshow for us. So I seen this like the almost like the Mount Rushmore of 3 of them.
Oh yeah, there's the Mount Rushmore of those 3, and then there's Henry.
Yeah.
So there's 4 of them.
So
yeah.
do the 3 know about Henry, or is that kind of like a hidden?
The one with the beard, the one we've like seen, who's not on a statue, like knows about him because
he got lit the fuck up by him.
He's aware now for sure.
Oh man, so I loved it too. Henry Oppenheimer. I was like, wow, come on.
Dude, I love just giving names that are on the nose.
So Like, what makes them atom-born though? Like, how do you become atom-born? Do you have to be like born around like the radiation? Like, what creates these individuals?
I'm gonna be honest. I've gotten that question a few times. I think that's the midichlorian question. I think that's the like, they're big magic wizards. If I explain where the big magic wizards come from, it kind of ruins the magic. They're big magic wizards. They show up. They're nuclear powered. It's just kind of, you go with it.
But I love the way you were able to transition Henry though, because not only is he atom-born, but he's able to speak to it too. It makes him like a natural born like mechanic. Like he doesn't even he's able just to talk to the engine to see what's wrong. And I was like, dude, this is so cool. And the way that you were able to do like the little bit of foreshadowing in the beginning, and then to have Summer like grab his shoulder and then just use that the words. What was your influences for coming up with that spell? Like, I mean, like what type of language was that? Was that something?
You wanna that? It's Cyrillic. It's Russian. The magic spell that shoots the lightning is the Russian letters for the Chernobyl nuclear power plant.
That's awesome though,
I'm
dude.
just like, this just looks cool and it looks weird. And I always think of like magic being like, magic spells are always Latin. I'm like, nah, if I have a nuclear wizard, the magic spells should be Russian.
It would be so much scarier too, right?
I guess. I feel Russian has like a good like grit to it too.
Dude. So this airplane, how the concept of it being powered by an atomic bomb, is that something that like you looked into, or were you like what is the science behind that?
Oh, this jumped all over the place. So the first version of this, I was like, all right, there's no way an airplane like this would still work. It was like a weird hot air balloon for a while. She was gonna like have the fuselage and no wings and just like a hot air balloon. And then like a nuclear reactor can just make heat all the time. So I'm like, if you had a hot air balloon that could lift the reactor, it would just make hot air forever. And then eventually I was like, if I have a hot air balloon, I literally have the slowest moving aircraft ever made.
Yeah, dude, how are you gonna get away from that wizard?
I was just like, when she was in the hot air balloon, it was basically about her like never coming to the ground. But eventually I was like, okay, maybe the plane should work, and that way you can have chases. Well, how would I deal with her having fuel? Could I still have a nuclear-powered airplane? And apparently, in history, in like the 50s and 60s, they made like 2 nuclear-powered airplanes that just didn't run on gas, or like, could run on the reactor. So like, it was theoretically a thing. And then I was just like, how do I design like a furnace or something that's like clearly a nuclear reactor? I'm like, oh, let's just have them make it out of a bomb. Could you make a real nuclear reactor out of a bomb? It would be difficult, but
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they have submarines. Like submarines are underwater airplanes, right?
Yeah.
Without wings. Same concept, I'm sure. Oh man, the way the airplane. So this is the only airplane in the world at the time, right?
Yeah, she's got the last one for now.
So give us a little bit of a breakdown of Summer. She's missing some body parts. She's missing an eye. What's her story? And then what we'll do is after this, we'll dive into the first issue together with Buster and kind of break down some of the pages.
So she's she's like a lady who's like been around for a while. She's like I don't know. I was writing this, so I'm like, it's just I want like, I don't know. I got tired of that like I feel like this is in manga all the time where it's like, who's gonna save the world? Oh, it's a teenager. I'm like, what if we had like an experienced like middle-aged woman who like knew everything about how stuff works? So like she's like kind of she's kind of mean, but she's good but kind of mean, and she's very aware of her world, and she's been going around helping people a bunch because she has this airplane, so she can do a bunch of things that people can't do. Other people talk about traveling, and traveling is this big hard thing. Going from any city to another is like this grand thing. Later on, there's a character who's like, I got to she did go very far, but she's like, I got from New York to the Ukraine, and that took me 5 years. And so like this idea of, you know, without vehicles or without like anything, well, you know, there's some beasts of burden, but they're weird.
Yeah.
They don't show up a lot in that first issue. There's some good giant bugs. I think issue 2, the cover is
yeah, it's her riding one, yeah.
So you know, she's this bit of an old grizzled kind of Han Solo lady.
You know,
her big old airplane.
So speaking of the Mad Max, I kind of did get a I'm gonna butcher this. Is it Furiosa?
There's a little bit of Furiosa, and then I get real worried about the Furiosa parts. I don't know. You love things, and then you want to do them, and then you get, you know, a little bit of like, am I ripping this off?
Well, no, you know, Furiosa was a little bit more compassionate, though. I would say this character, like her Summer's development, you know, like especially like when the kid ran up to her and she's like, "I'll make your eye look like mine." I was like, woo. So you know, I think she has that spiciness to her that you know separates her, and then her design too is like, you know, Furiosa was white. Or at least, you know, in the movie. Speaking of that, was it hard for you to write a woman character? Was that something that you had trouble with? Did you have to do like any beta reading? You know, because I felt like you did a pretty good job. So I'm just kind of curious behind that as well.
Oh, I mean, not really. She's not. I'll be honest. She's just not very feminine. She's not really like, oh, am I writing this character that's nothing like me? It's like, no, I'm just sort of writing it like a interesting action hero. Like, we all know, like, you know, how to write a character who's like, I'm in trouble, what am I gonna do? Mm-hmm. There's a wizard, what do I want? where am I going? How do I survive this? Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know, like you I think you intuit how to write another character that is not you, even though you don't share a lot of attributes with them. You know, you get it. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't know. I have a lot of beta readers. Like, I show it to all my friends, but there's no secret to it. You just like empathize.
No, I gotcha. Hey. I think you know, it seems like that's like it worked perfect for you though. So I mean, if it's not broken, don't break it, right? Or something along those lines. I know that saying's along those lines. Speaking of that though, let's go ahead and break into the first issue.
Oh, man. All right.
Yeah, those segues are getting perfect. I know.
You're nailing it.
So we are going to be looking at issue number 1. Let me go ahead and scroll up too. That way we are starting right off the first issue. And keep in mind, Buster did go through and redraw most of issue 1, a lot of the faces and stuff. Getting ready for a con. Which con are you going to be heading to?
Oh, it's the San Diego Comic-Con. The big boy.
All right, so let's check it out. So right here is issue number 1, and we are looking at that bastard wizard that just won't leave her alone. And here is the woman of the hour, Summer. So you hear the sound so seldomly heard, the roaring motors, an aluminum bird. If the day is clear and with some luck, you'll see her there above the muck. What is that word?
Albatross.
The albatross tears through the sky, and the last Aviatrix still flies. So is this an actual like poem, or is this something that you made?
I mean, I wrote the poem.
Well, no. I meant like, was it because you said the word actually means like woman, aviator or avatar. So I was curious if maybe this was like something that was actually from that too.
Oh no, this is in the world.
Oh,
This
that's so
is like
cool.
so like people kind of know about her because
Mhm.
I had this image of like in a world where like every machine is broken
Mhm.
and things are bad. The idea that every once in a while, also the plane she's in, it's loud as hell.
Yeah.
So every once in a while you just see a thing fly by that's loud and it's high and you're like, what is that? That would just sort of break people's brains a little bit in this
Mhm.
world. So I liked the idea of her being this kind of folk hero character because she's kind of like a shooting star almost. So people know vaguely who she is, and so this poem is part of that. It's like, hey, what's that airplane? It's like, oh well, there's a story about that.
Was this all done traditional, or did you do it digitally?
So this started traditional, and then I went back and touched up a lot of it digitally, and then by issue 3, I was just drawing full on the computer. But this still has some ink and paper in it.
I gotcha. So right here we see her shutting off the engines as she's getting ready to enter this city right here off in the distance. We see a lot of barren desert and land. And then she meets a rather interesting person right here. So we find out that she's late, and there's problems with the engine 3 starting to overheat, and this is where we get introduced to Henry. But
yeah.
at the time, we don't know that he's a mechanic or Atomborn. So I really thought that was awesome that you kind of like were able to introduce him so early on without knowing the importance of him.
Oh, yeah, he's just in the first page, and he's just there.
Mhm.
He's just like, these two people are negotiating, and I'm the little boy. I'm just here.
And we see that she's heading off to the library after settling on a price to get the plane overhauled. It was really funny too, because she thinks that this lady right here is the mechanic, but then she later finds out that she pretty much like enslaved this boy to do all the dirty work for her.
Oh yeah.
There's a nice little close-up of the plane too. So what influences did you have for the design of the plane?
Oh dude, that's a real. That's a B-29. That's the plane. This is a thing where I'm like, oh, this will be cool, and then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is kind of weird and grim. But that's the plane that dropped the first nuclear bomb. So like, eventually that will come up. That is part of why the wizard is like,
Fuck
look,
you.
you're driving around in this abomination, this like historical, like this giant war crime machine. Like, I do not like this. But it's a thing that works for her.
And then we get a nice little look of the landscape in the city. I thought you did an awesome job having like the graffiti, and then we see like some like foliage or mushrooms growing up on the corners of this. So you kind of tell it's been run down and blown up for quite some time. How long has it been since the world like turned into this wasteland?
Oh, it's been 90 years. So it's like basically I think at one point he says it later on, but the librarian character is the last person who is alive before the war. So he's the last guy who's kind of still living in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone else is just like, this is bad, but this is the world I know.
And
so
then,
like
go
this guy here, he's like painting this giant mural of a thing he doesn't really know about.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I know something big and crazy happened. I talked to the one guy here who knows about it. Well, who like was there in some regard. So it's like, that's, I don't know. I like the idea of like one person left who's kind of holding on, but everyone else is just like gone.
Because I mean, that's kind of how it goes, right? Like with everything, like anything like from a long time ago that's been translated, like the Bible, for instance, not to like bring that up or anything, but like that's been translated 5,000 years ago. So like the last person who actually knew the true story died, and then all we have left is what the Bible tells us, right?
Yeah.
So like it's the same thing with this. When the librarian dies, all we have left is like the records that he leaves behind.
There's not a whole lot in this issue. They come up more, but I really like just like screwing with folklore. So like at one point the plane's called the Albatross, and you kind of think like, oh, that's a bad name. That's like a giant bird that like gets killed really easily, and it's like, oh, it's like an albatross around your neck. It's this kind of, it's not a cool name for a plane. And then later on, Summer like explains why it's named that, and it's just clear that she thinks an albatross is a phoenix. She's just like, oh yeah, there's this legend of this bird that was like a big magical bird. It would be reborn in fire. It's perfect for my plane, an albatross.
So we see right here is Summer reaching the library, and that infamous part we were talking about earlier, where this girl's inquiring about what's on her face. Did someone poke it on? And she's like, maybe I'll poke your eye out too, and we can match. And see her running off crying.
Yeah.
And then the librarian, like you said, don't scare them off. It's hard to get them to read anything in Old English. So what are they? What's the new language now? Is it New English or?
It's just the most like corrupt, garbled English I could make. Have you ever read Paper Girls?
I don't believe so.
Paper Girls is honestly, it's probably like my favorite comic. But they have characters that come from the future, and in their speech bubbles, they kind of write like a really bad text message.
Mm-hmm.
And so the characters are always like, I think I know what you're saying, but I'm not really sure. That's kind of what modern English is now. Is just sort of like very garbled, very kind of hard to parse, but like if you stare at it long enough, you'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. So. And I loved right here too. He's like, you got my books and films. You're 2 years overdue. And it's not. I love this part so much because like I really thought this was really in depth. It's not about the cost. He's preserving the film and records and books of the pre-American war. So like this is like pieces of history that's invaluable. You can't put a price on it. And he's like, how do I know you're gonna bring the next batch? And then right here, she's like, I brought interest, and like brings him more like artifacts and reels and stuff. So I really love this like dialogue and this interaction, like how she's bringing him more history in order to replace the one from 2 years ago.
Yeah, I've had so many people be like, oh, Viewfinder, or no, Viewmaster, the Viewmaster disc.
Oh yeah, maybe I'm showing my age here. I remember these reels too, though.
I mean, the reels.
Oh man, I wonder if they still do that for movie theaters, or is everything digital on their end?
Most things are digital, but like they still make films for a good chunk of stuff. I saw the last Mad Max on film, so like they definitely make films. Also, the Great Gatsby. I really wanted to do stuff about media, and I was really afraid of doing anything that was copyrighted. So it's all the most goofy public domain things every time. So it's like, oh, there's The Great Gatsby, because that was in public domain like 3 months before I finished this.
That's so awesome. So you could get away with it. I love it.
Yeah, the one I keep needing movies. I keep needing people to look at movies, and the list of public domain movies is actually the list of public domain movies that anyone's ever heard of or like are kind of fun is really short. So I keep ending up using Plan 9 from Outer Space. And there's something really funny to me about like characters being like so like concerned with the old world and preserving history. It's like, we have to preserve film. These things are magical. And it's like, if you showed Plan 9 from Outer Space to a guy who's never seen a movie before, he will think it's the greatest movie he's ever seen.
So what film is this right here? Is there any Easter egg with this scene in particular?
Oh, that's Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh, okay, that's what you were talking about. Yeah. So what's Aviatrix mean? Is that what it means in French?
Oh, they're just talking about something else. She's making fun of fancy French movies.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, so he goes, well, the French were the masters of the avant-garde. And she goes, is avant-garde French for unwatchable?
I got you. And then right here, more pulp and fantasy. So is this like a nod maybe to Pulp Fiction?
It was just a nod to like, she actually has like some preferences now that she's like borrowed and found so many things. And he's just like, you want like goofy adventure stuff. You don't want, my avant-garde French films anymore.
And then right here we start getting the introduction to the Atomborn. So an Atomborn hasn't dared come into 3 miles into the city in 5 years, but whenever they do get close, they have things for them, like sirens and ballistas armed with the lead bolts to repel them. So I thought the lead bolts were pretty important. What's the significance of that? Because you actually see her shoot one. Does lead have any sort of property? You're able to contain nuclear stuff with lead, aren't you?
Yeah. So like lead. The Atomborn have kind of weird rules. They have a little bit of like vampire rules of like it's really hard to even hurt them. So they've figured out that like, all right, we can't kill them, but like you hit them with a normal weapon, like a weapon made out of steel, it just bounces off of them. You hit them with a weapon made of lead, it will cut them, like it will hurt them. So that comes up later. Like another character like hits an Atomborn with an axe, and the axe just shatters. But like Summer is like, these are the people I am afraid of. These are the things that I'm afraid of, are these wizards. I am putting lead weaponry in everything I do.
So we see her head back to the hangar, and she notices that the little boy is actually working on the plane, and she starts like kind of getting upset here. You're sitting here, you're eating, what are you doing? And she's like, no, I'm the one eating. He's the one working on engine 3. And then this kind of where we get the idea that she brought him off a roach trader, and that she pretty much has been having him do all her work ever since.
Yeah. Also, she's eating the giant larva.
Yeah. And then this was a really interesting scene too. This was a little bit of a flashback. So she's hanging out on the bench in the hangar, and then we get a little bit of a flashback of what was going on. And this was really interesting. I loved how you kind of did this, where you had her like fall asleep and wake up to the sound of an alarm going off.
Yeah,
on a siren.
It's the siren for the city. It's like, oh no, there is an Atomborn coming. We need to get ready to shoot him with a bunch of lead and get him out of here.
She's like, to hell with this, and
she's just like, I am not dealing with this. Yeah. I am not going to sit here and defend the city. This is my break point. Is like, I will help with stuff. I will come. I'll bring supplies. I'll bring movies. I'll do all that stuff. I'm not going to fight Atomborn. I am leaving.
We see her start flipping the switches, and she starts to take off. And then there's some interesting people on the plane as well. So this was like one of my favorite interactions. Like just because like everything they try to do to get past her. So we see the one armed with a little crossbow right here.
Yeah, he's got a little crossbow.
Yeah, I love it because he goes like, she's like, all right, well, let's do this. And she dumps it and then throws them off. And then he shoots her, but she blocks it with her hand. So I love how like they go to attack her, and anything that would have hurt her or like dismantled her, they're hitting the arm, like right here with the knife. Stabs her.
She's very much like, what do I have right now? Oh, I have an arm that they can't hurt. Let's lean into that.
Stabs the dude in the neck, rips it out of her hand, stabs him in the neck with the crossbow. And then the knife right here, right in the arm. And then, she rips it out and show him it's, a metal arm. And I love this part in particular. He has her, starts to overpower her. And this was the part we were talking about earlier where I was like, damn, dude, this part was like just so graphic. We get a look at what's under that eye mask. So we go down here and we get the close up, and it's just so graphic. You see her teeth, you see the eye ripped out here, and she's like, now we match, baby doll, stabbing him in the eye. I was like, dude, what a brutal like redemption. I love it so much. Like, what inspired you to have her so like horrifically like disfigured like this?
She did not start off that disfigured. She started off as the first version of it, she had like, like a line scar through her eye, and her eye was like white, so it was like, all right. And then I was like, all right, I can't reasonably have a character who's like called an aviatrix. All she does is fly a plane, and she has no depth perception. So let's give her like a big like meaty prosthetic eye. And so like I ended up drawing this thing that covered most of her face. And so after that I was going like, all right, I need to have some sort of reveal for like what is under there, like really sell home like, no, it's a big prosthetic eye.
Mhm.
This is what it's like. This is what her face actually looks like. And then it was just drawing. I knew I needed it to be kind of gnarly, so I drew one version of it and I sent it to a friend of mine who's like a little bit squeamish, and he was like, this is fine. And then I'm like, all right. So I redrew it again.
I need to get a better reaction out of them.
Like, this is better. And then the third one, where I think the third one was the one where I was like, you could see her teeth, and he was like, this is terrible. I'm like, all right, that's the one I'm going with. I want it to be like, there is always that worry that you'll just make something nasty enough that you're like, nasty enough that it grosses out some people, or other people just tune it out. Kind of, you ever play? I always think of the Mortal Kombat problem, where there's like so much violence in such a goofy way that it just doesn't register at all. It's like, oh no, that man pulled out that other man's entire skeleton. His whole skeleton fell out.
And then it said friendship above him. What does this mean?
Yeah, but so like that violence, but to a cartoon degree, is a thing I'm afraid of. But I think this is a good amount of like gross and unpleasant, and you get why like this upsets her. Like it's a gnarly thing, so like that would hurt your heart a little bit to have this be your face. It's like, it's hard to have like such a gnarly scar.
So she goes to put it back on, and then dumps them both out of the plane. And then this is when she discovers there's a stowaway. It was the little boy who was working on engine 3. And this is kind of when we start to get a good idea of what he's capable of. He was working on the heart when the plane started moving. And then they see something, they're in the middle of that exchange, and then there's something on the runway. There's a man, and then we get a little throwback to this guy. So I just love, like, this is all Russian right here.
Yeah, it's just Russian.
And then she realizes like, that's no man. And then right off the rip, dude, this dude just starts going ham, just screaming Russian at him, hitting him with lightning bolts left and right.
Hey man, you gotta write what you want to draw.
No, I love it. So, and this guy is relentless. He does not let up at all.
Oh no, he's a bastard.
We have some friends over on Twitch saying one man pulling out stuff for another man. Rasputin. I butchered that one. I am just butchering words left and right today. And we have Patrick Rader saying this looks awesome. Yeah, I love this so much. And then this guy, he's just going insane. So Henry's going to be capable of this power as well?
Oh yeah, Henry starts blasting pretty soon. Henry, like, I mean, I have a bunch of issues. You can read a bunch. Henry, like, very quickly figures out how to do the big lightning, and he's a little boy. He's like, this is too much. I do not like this. I do not like that I am, like, the only one who can fight this wizard. I don't want to fight people. So honestly, that's what I'm trying to go with, more of the tension than like, ooh, can he win? It's like, we're asking a 10-year-old to fight like a 90-year-old wizard. Like, that's not a good thing.
And we see things are starting to get very complicated very quick. She acknowledges he can't even aim, but she's worried about the heart. So we see him going here, and this is when we get a big picture at what's running this airplane. And it's an old atomic bomb. There's a lot of corrosion on it, a lot of tubes coming out left and right. And yeah, just the look on his face right here when he goes to look at it, I love it. He's like, what the fuck's going on, man?
He's like, I was just on the ground.
And then yeah, right here, this is where we learn that he could really starts to talk to them, because he's saying it's still pumping, everything's fine. And then she's like, what do you mean? Did you say it's said? And then it's not long before this guy comes back out, and his face reminds me of Cyrus from Con Air. He's been in so many different other roles too. You know who I'm talking about though? The dude. I
don't think so. I just remember Con Air.
Dude, oh my! When Nicolas Cage gets off the airplane, Cyrus the Virus. So, what's his name? John Mikulevish. He's been in a bunch of different things too. I feel like Joe Rogan right now. Let's pull it up. So he's been in a lot of movies. Holy crap! So this dude was in Shattered, AVA, The Survivalist, Bird Box, Transformers, Dark of the Moon. So yeah, dude, he looks almost pretty close to him. I love it. What inspirations did you have for the wizard?
I mean, he's just like the most classic wizard to me. He's like, he's got the big hood. He's, you bald, the big flowing beard, the weirdly big eyebrows.
We have a couple people asking where they can get this. Do you have it available for purchase yet, or?
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure you can just buy them on my website.
I put the link to the website in chat, guys. You could read it for free, but the option to buy it is also there. I like how you give both choices too. You could read it or you could buy it.
Oh yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know, like how. Let's be frank for a moment. How many of us have never read a comic book online that we could have bought in a store? I'm just going like, hey, here's a little bit of the Radiohead sort of, pay what you want. You can watch it for free. If you want a paper one, I'll send it to you. I need some money for the paper one. If you just want to read the story, you can read the story.
We have my buddy Mark Stiles saying it's legit Rasputin, the Russian wizard. Yeah, no, he legitly, this is all Russian that he's screaming out. It's funny. I love it, dude. It all comes from Chernobyl, the nuclear part. So I thought that was a really nice little touch you added. Everything just starts connecting so well.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. He's the classic wizard. Maybe he's the classic wizard because of Rasputin, but he's the classic wizard.
So right here, we see her asking if he knows how to he knows how to fire it, and he's like, the what? And then she's like, hold this thing, I'm gonna go get it. And I love it right here too. She's like, who the hell decided you can't fire the cannon from the pilot's seat? So that little throwback there, because it's such an old school plane.
Oh yeah, this is a part I put in. Originally, this page just didn't have these top 3 panels.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm looking up how this plane works, and it's like, oh, this plane is not a fighter plane. It is a very big, slow bomber.
Yeah.
It's meant to be run by 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to shoot any of the guns, you can shoot the guns from 5 different seats, but none of them are the seats that fly the plane.
And it would be scary as hell too, because you're right here. So if he hits you, you're falling out. You're dead.
Oh yeah. You're in the little glass greenhouse part to shoot the gun.
And then right here we see that Summer is able to hit him right in the freaking face. With a lead bolt. We're led to believe that she takes him out because it goes right through his face. But that's not the case, because he just simply grabs it and just yanks it right out of his face. And now he is horrifically scarred himself. I was like, damn, dude, everyone's losing their eye. What's going on?
I love asymmetry. I just want everyone to be as asymmetrical as possible.
And then, he's like, not exactly. I love that little moment, too. This poor little boy is just scared shitless.
He's not pumped.
So then Summer decides if slow moving target, really emphasizing on that plane, let's go into the cannon to kind of break away. And, things look like they're starting to get away. This dude, though, this wizard has other plans as he freaking gets a flying lizard dragon to chase him down with. It was at this moment I'm like, okay, the Mad Max wizard, it makes sense now. Look,
you gotta write what you want to draw.
So what is this creature if you had to give it a name?
Oh, they say it later on. Give me half a second, because it's At one point, a character is like, "Oh man, remember when we outflew that dragon?" And the librarian's just like, it's not a dragon. It's a giant mutant lizard." Like, dragons aren't real. Excuse me, that is a Quinquefarius catius. A Draco Quinquefarius catius, a kind of rare flying lizard that is
I could not say that 5 times fast. I could not. We have people saying the art is amazing. I think the art is gorgeous. Buster drew and scripted this 4 issues, 40 to 50 pages each issue in 2 years. It's insane. That is insane.
You gotta flip through issue 4 at the end of this, because like that's when the art starts to get good.
This whole entire time he's cringing. He's like, "This son of a bitch." So I love we got this scene of this not dragon flying lizard chasing that I could not pronounce that to save my life, and you get a real big size comparison too. This thing is freaking massive.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have this giant airplane. What is scary to a giant airplane? Something else bigger that flies.
the Apex airplane.
Yeah.
And then we got a nice little paneling right here, kind of, the pilot, and then we have him on lizard back, and then she gets a good idea. I like this little pivot too, where she's like, I got the right plan just for him. Let's just call it Josh. The lizard.
You just call it the dragon. I'll be frank, every part where I'm like making notes, I'm just the dragon.
Do it, kid. And then he has pretty good accuracy taking out this cliff. He goes to scream out some Russian, but not in time, as this whole entire thing just lands on him. I love this part too. All these boulders taking down this huge dragon, and then the bubbling, the lettering right here. I really liked how you guys did this, or you did. I almost said you guys did the sound effect. It's still like insane, hard to comprehend. You did this by yourself, man. It's awesome.
Do you not get a lot of writer artists?
No, I do.
I mean, yeah, you go for it, man.
It's still dude. So I'm just a consumer. For me, like I could not draw a stick person to save my freaking life. So like I look at this, I'm like, okay, this dude did like 250 pages in 2 years. I could maybe do 3 pages. Like I can maybe write, but I can maybe draw 3 pages. Like, so when I get an art, like a writer artist, I just am like always so mind blown, because that creative process, it's like you guys are like ascended Super Saiyans. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh man, well, it's like it's a snowball, to be fair. The first 6 months were definitely like, ooh, maybe I do a page like every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just like, I have to redraw the faces for 50 pages. That might take me like a hot weekend.
Oh man, this is so insane. Holy crap. I love it. And then right here too, the paneling, like this was your first issue. So like this type of stuff, like I just love how like you were able to do it. You know what I mean? Like, did you do like a lot of studying for like comic paneling, or like any extensive researching? Because your panels, like for someone for their first issue, the way you did it, like it's awesome.
I mean, I read a lot of things that were like how to make comics. I had just like always read a bunch of stuff. So I was like, the first thing I thought of was like, as much as people, like Watchmen, let's avoid all the grids as much as we can. Let's avoid the like things that are a little bit, square all the time. And try and have things breaking out, and try and have things a little bit you go for it. You draw everything, you like plan everything in thumbnails, like really small drawings. And then when you're going to like make the real page, you kind of have to reevaluate and be like, is this good enough? Is this bold enough? Are things like coming towards the camera, or are things kind of flat? So it's just, constant reevaluation and choosing to like try and push what you're doing.
Yeah, I really think you were able to bring a lot of life to it too, with the different like perspective views, and like just how everything looks. Like right here, this in particular, how he's shooting up. Like I thought this was done like so awesome compared to like right here where he's like kind of flying down. So like the way you were able to transition those views was done, really awesome, I felt. So this is kind of where we get a feeling that he might be dead. We get the idea he might be down, out of the count. His flying lizard is definitely not faring well.
Not doing great.
Not doing too hot. But then there's a hand that just pops out. This dude just does not give up, and he's able to blast the left wing. So it's someone in chat saying it reminds them of the Sega Genesis Comic Zone. I get a lot of the Comic Zone vibes to it too. That was such a good game.
That is such a compliment.
I forgot about that game.
Reach, but it's such a compliment. That's so cool.
And then we have Henry right here. Did we get him? Did we get him? And Summer's like, I think we got each other. So we see Summer. She's tasked with the huge feat of landing this thing without crashing, because this is the only airplane. If you crash it, you're done. And she's able to put it down. And then we get the idea that things are not looking too hot for him. The engine's a little toasted. She's working on it. Then she hears this weird crunching sound, and she looks off in the distance, and it's none other than this this unrelenting wizard coming out of death to take these two down. But Summer has an idea, and I really thought this part of it was really interesting.
Well, I think she's still got to learn something before she has an idea, I think.
So they need to take off, but
yeah, she's like, let's dip.
Yeah, right here's where she has that moment of realization. An Atom-born, the kid is an Atom-born. So I love how she kind of she's like starting to sweat, she's starting to freak out, and then she has that one clear moment of clarity where everything's making sense.
Yeah, she sees the kid doing this giant weird ritual with the bomb, trying to figure out what's... He's trying to be like, I'll help, I'll talk to the engine, and she's like, oh my god. Oh no.
And yeah, she starts to lose. He's a damn Atom-born. Like, so is she like mad that he could potentially like turn into the wizard, or is she mad that it took that long to realize it?
She's just like, she does not like these wizards. These wizards have been very cruel to her. So the idea that like, oh no, now I have to deal with this boy wizard, just like, she's immediately filled with like a little bit of fury, and then she kind of, that's why it's got the shaking hand and then the like calmer hand. It's like, all right, he is a boy. He's not the wizard that's outside. He's a boy. We're gonna deal with this as it comes.
And then right here, this is where she comes up with her big master plan. And I love this part. So she's like, it's okay, but I have an idea. We're both in trouble. We're both knee deep in it, but we're gonna get out of here. So she just rips this from the wall.
Yeah, she rips out one of the big like tube sort of mechanical things
with the nuclear fuel like type stuff, and we see her. She's getting ready to meet this wizard head to head. I thought this was a pretty ballsy move to come out here right in the open. And we see right here, she kind of getting an idea of what she's thinking of, the words I remember. And we see that she's gone up against this particular wizard. What was he asking here? So what is this corium?
So corium in real life is what they call the material when a nuclear reactor melts down, and it just like melts all of its stuff together. In this world, corium is it's still like nuclear material, but so like the Atom-born use nuclear material to kind of like beef up their powers. So that's why the wizard has these like big rods hanging from his neck, and Henry has to like kind of plug into the nuclear reactor in the plane.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, it really like beefs up their power. So he's like, where's the corium? This is a thing I care about. And she's like, I do not like you.
Go to hell. And then he hits her with the spell.
Yeah.
This is what I'm assuming took off her arm too, because that's the same arm that's metal. Yeah. So she repeats that, and then he has no idea. He repeats it in a questioning state, and he's like, what? And then all of a sudden his eyes and his mouth just open up, and then boom, just like annihilates as a wizard. So I love that twist where she finds out he's an Atom-born, and then she almost like uses him as like the transit to like just take out this dude with all that nuclear power.
Oh yeah, she definitely is just like, oh, I have a weapon. I will point this boy like a gun.
And this completely just like disintegrates him. You know, he already had half a missing face, but now he is just bone. And
blasted to the bones.
Henry's having a hard time. He's like, wait, did I just do that? Like, was that me? And like, he's like, we have a classic, what is it, Luke's uncle and aunt right here moment where they're just smoldering in ash.
He's just cooked. He's just a skeleton.
And yeah, Henry's he's just not coming to terms with it. He doesn't want to kill anyone. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. And this is where we actually get their names. So this whole entire issue, we had no idea what their names were, but this is Summer, and then this was Henry. And I love how you said this was right on the nose, Henry Oppenheimer.
Oh yeah, I love just doing goofy names. So it's like, he's Henry Oppenheimer, most on the nose name you could have. And then like the like grizzled, kind of mean, worldly pilot is named Summer. Which I thought was the like most like nice flowery name you could give someone.
All right, so we see right here, Henry's talking to the plane. Someone wants to know, and he's saying it won't be fast, but it'll fly. So they're still struggling to get off the ground.
You can get by with 2 engines, probably.
But that's not all, because we see him get back up again. This dude he's not going down without a fight. But that's it. That's all you guys get. If you want to read issues 2, 3, and 4, right here's the link. Be sure to check it out. And then you could also buy a copy too. You did say you want to check out issue 4 though, so let's go ahead and pull that up.
Can you flip through 4 just like a little bit? We didn't have to read it. I just want to show people art. I think it's cool. You can click on comics and then yeah.
So right here is a really interesting. So this is where I kind of got that Mount Rushmore. I really love how this dude's wearing a gas mask too.
Oh yeah. I really loved the what is it? The giant like king and soldier statue in Lord of the Rings. That was what I was thinking of here. It's just like, oh, somebody just made these giant things.
All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna take a look at wow, you could tell like the art has definitely like you've been doing this for a couple of issues, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like just like using black ink more helps. Just the pages.
The detailing like the rivets right here and the cracks in the welder mask. Oh, and this is where she has so she has the corium.
Yeah. Well, we're skipping ahead, but
yeah. This is someone new too. This isn't the original like the person who owns Henry.
No, that's another character.
Ooh, but she has like an arm, it looks like, too, in her suitcase.
Oh yeah. We're skipping a bunch of stories.
So okay, so issue 3, I remember on the cover of issue 3 you see her arm kind of broke off, so I'm assuming at this point she's missing her arm and she's looking to replace it.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. She's ready to fight her with an arm and a stump. Let's go. You want to catch the smoke? But we see she's still very capable. Holy crap.
I just like the idea of a character being like, we're gonna fight to settle this. So she's like, I'm missing a hand. Like, you're gonna win. So the other character's like, all right, hand behind the back. Let's go.
At least she had the honor to do it, though.
No, she doesn't.
She throws sand. Pocket sand.
Starts cheating.
Is this the pocket sand reference? I love it.
I just love the like grab the sand, throw it in the face.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, this art definitely has it's definitely like what are some of the different things you started doing between issue 1 and issue 4, like some of the techniques, like some of the things you learned along the way?
I mean, well, first off, this is all drawn on the computer, so like that definitely changed things. I don't know, just being I think every new artist is a little bit afraid to be as bold with black as they should be. I think there's a level of like, if I put all of this in shadow, people are gonna think I'm lazy or like I don't know how to draw it. And then you get better and you're like, I should just put all this in shadow because it'll look cooler. It's like that's the thing I think of the most of just like boldness is the shadows are all black. every kind of drop shadow and thing. Just like scroll to the middle. We're not really reading it. We're just like
yeah. I love how you have these huge cockroaches pulling this car, pulling the camper.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to sneak that car in there. I'm like, how else can I get this in here?
All right.
There's the page that's the cover.
That looks so different without the colors too.
Well, I tried.
Did you do the colors for the cover as well?
Oh, that's a different drawing. I'm sorry.
Well, I meant like for the covers. Did you do colors as well?
Oh yeah. Here, you wanna see? The covers are just like watercolor paintings.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Absolutely, that'd be cool. Yeah, the car cockroaches. I thought that was a really interesting take on it too. Oh, so you actually painted those and then uploaded them?
Huh? I'm sorry.
You painted them and uploaded them?
Yeah, they're just
that's really cool.
Paintings. I don't know.
I love it, dude. That is so cool. That's so cool. Thank you. I love kind of seeing the behind the scenes because I never would have guessed. What we'll do is after we scroll through some of this, we'll pull up that cover so you guys can see what it looked like. I like how this is too. Like the way you said you weren't afraid to go like as black as possible and bold. So the way this kind of bleeds into the whole like page with the different panelings like in it. Yeah, this is cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so this isn't a cave. It looks like this might actually be like a dead animal that they're inside of.
Oh no, it's a cave. It's just like caves, kind of, you know.
No, I got you.
This is like a weird famous. This is Yucca Mountain, which is like a place where they considered storing a bunch of nuclear waste, and it has this giant steel pipe that runs along it.
I gotcha. No, that is so cool that you took so much stuff that actually happened and put it into your books like that. You know, I never even knew they had something like that.
Well, they keep to be fair, it's a thing they keep debating on what they're using or not. And they're like, I don't know about this. Also, it's fun.
I was gonna say, speaking of that, I don't know if a lot of people knew this, but there's actually like a cheese cave out there. I just recently learned about it, like yesterday. There's like it has like 1 million pounds of cheese in it.
And the National Cheese Reserve.
Yes, that's a thing. Like Ronald Reagan signed the bill. I can't believe I memorized it, but signed the bill, and then they had like they bought up all the cheese they could, and they had no idea where to put it, so they made a cave and put it. It's like the cheese cave.
You can have a cheese cave.
So they come into, is this another dragon or what is this?
Oh no, he lived. He, you know, much like every character, he lost an eye, but no, he's back. I drew that page of him dying, and then I was like, and then he has another dragon that he breeds, and then I'm like, oh, whatever, just bring the other one back and give him a big scar.
I love this too, where you shadowed out their faces, but you still had like defining features like the eye right here.
The eye and the blonde hair. Yeah. I don't know. I know the crisis of making comics and getting better is that, you know, if you make a series, you know people are gonna read issue 1 first, and then you know the last issue is gonna be the best looking one. So it's always a little bit of like, well, I want you to read my story, but I want you to see the best parts.
I love this too, how they're using the little bug as like a lantern.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this next page is my favorite from this, I think.
Oh, this is gorgeous. So is this a huge spider or is this still part? This looks like a huge ass.
That's a giant spider.
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks like a huge ass. Like this almost looks like the Black Widow marking right there.
Oh yeah. This is just a giant Black Widow.
Oh wow, dude, this is gorgeous. I love this. You definitely played around with the blacks a lot on this. Yeah, this is good. This is gorgeous. Did you have a lot of experience drawing like insects and bugs? Because it seems like you're really like killing it.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I just practiced a bunch. I was just like, I really want to learn how to draw bugs really well. And the trick to learning how to draw bugs is that you very quickly realize that nobody really knows exactly how bugs look. So you should change things to make their designs better. So like, you know, spiders have 8 eyes. They don't really look like that, but like, that's what looks cool. That's what's fun to draw. Kind of bubble things.
All right. Well, I don't want to spoil too much of issue 4. It looks like as soon as they get out of the cave, they run into another mysterious person in a cloak that looks kind of familiar. But I think right there would be a perfect time to
that's great. Yeah.
Leave the cliffhanger. So, wow, what an awesome interview. Thank you so much for going through issue 1 with us. It was awesome. Spiders are the cutest bugs out there if you look at them from if you look at them really close up. Like some of the spiders I can get, like some of the ones that are like furry, they got the little toe beans. Yeah. A black widow though, there's nothing cute about a black widow. I've seen black widows and I've run from them.
Yeah, those are not a fun spider.
So, Buster, for anyone out there that is like, I often use this question as like a campaign or a Kickstarter question, but we can kind of spin it around for something that'll benefit you too. For anyone that's out there, I guess that's on the fence about buying your book physically or even just taking a chance to read it, what would you like to say to them to kind of just encourage them to take a look at it?
I don't know. I think it's a thing that I love to draw, and I think that shines through. I think if you read it, you will appreciate on some level, like, this is a thing that was made with not even joy, but just like fun. It is a very fun and grim adventure.
And speaking of that, right there is that cover next to us. So anyone that's watching, right there is the painting that he did of the arm.
I'm to show you this.
That's so cool. I love that. So real quick, we're getting ready to wrap it up. I always love finishing strong. So Buster, for anyone that's watching, 9 times out of 10, I love using this as a platform to promote you, to promote your book. But that one out of 10, it's also like a great learning tool for any creator out there that's looking to kind of just get started on their own. They take, little pieces of wisdom or tips and take it out and, start their own comic. So for anyone that's new and they're having trouble just getting started, just getting the pencil to the paper, getting the script started, or even just getting the art started, what advice would you give them to kind of just get through that initial thing that's stopping them to just get started?
What is good advice for people that are worried about getting started? I mean, I hate the just do it advice, so I'm not going to say that.
Everybody says.
Yeah, it's true, but it also sucks. It's true, but it's bad advice. It's like, how do I fix my car? I don't know. You fix the car. It's like, that's not helpful, man. I would say that the thing that helped me is even when you look at art that you feel like is not as good as you want, 95% of people are just gonna think it's cool. Most people just think of art as really rad, even if it's a little bit sketchy or not quite as good as you want. So don't worry so much. And also, I know I made a big ridiculous thing with a lot of world building stuff. You could just make a simple story. People like simple stories. Make a thing that's 2 pages long. Make a thing that's 18 panels long. If you can do a cool story in 18 panels. And then you have a thing that you can show people. So that's my advice. Don't be afraid to be simple, and don't be afraid to be short and sweet, and just, I
love that.
When it's 18 panels and not 18 pages, it's a very different level of entry. It's a very different level of commitment, and I think that makes it more you can wrap your head around it. You can give it a shot.
No, I love that. Thank you so much, because that is definitely something that's a little bit different than we're used to hearing. And I think, starting off small, really helps, because a lot of people do dive in. You dove into something that was 40 pages. You got it done though. But you are different than other people. You know what I mean?
I'm not a reasonable example.
Me too. You were like, dude, you must be doing these every day. I'm like, yeah. You've done so much. You might do it. Yeah. Are you doing them every day? I'm like, Yeah, that's to me. That's like two like minds. I would never tell anyone like, hey, do what I do, you'll love it. Like, because I love it, but I'm built for this. You know what I mean? Like everyone else, probably not.
Yeah.
So guys, with that being said, that does wrap up our talk with Buster. This was such an awesome interview. For anyone that's interested, we put the link in the chat. Be sure to check it out. I had such an awesome time. Thank you for coming on to the show, breaking down issue 1 and just everything in between, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. This was
absolutely. So what you're working on issue 4 now. When can we expect issue number 5?
Oh boy. Definitely after that Comic-Con. I have to fingers crossed we can find some like a publisher or somebody to work with. But after that, then we'd start working on issue 5, I guess. Yeah. Or maybe I'll make something completely different.
Hey, well, if you make something completely different or issue 5, I'd love to get you back on and break it down once again more in depthly. This was an awesome time, guys. I hope you have a fantastic Saturday. It is beautiful out there, but most importantly, keep it geekly.